Okay, this is from the book Holy Grail of Wisdom Quotes by me, Pete Rogers. We're going through the letter B in alphabetical order. So here's Joan Baez. Action is the antidote to despair. We talked about that before, how you take yourself out of the default mode network, singular gyrus, that focuses on the past and the future, and then you put yourself into the present, and then you can only be in one place at a time. So you then go to the task-based network on the convexities of the brain, because the brain can only be conscious of one thing at a time. And you get the whatever was making you sad off your mind. Okay, that's why getting busy helps prevent depression. Okay, next, also another thing about Joan Baez, I think she did a fantastic job with that song. That's the night they drove Old Dixie down. It's a magnificent song. I've been reading Gone with the Wind. I'm listening to the audiobooks. It's 41 audiobooks. I'm on book like 21. So it's a masterpiece, though. It's one of the greatest books of all time. I can't believe how good it is. I think it's in part because I'm used to always reading books by men about men. So to read a book by a woman about women is very interesting, the psychology of it. But she does everything right that I've ever learned about how to write a novel. Constantly keep the lead characters in trouble, have a likable lead character, constantly have them want something but not quite be able to get it. All of that stuff holds reader attention. It's just a magnificent book. And I think it's the best way to learn history, because when you learn history the way they teach it in school, a bunch of dry dates, you forget almost everything. Whereas when you see the families and the individuals going through these experiences and you relate them to the time, it sticks with you. This is the greatest way to learn history. I've gone through the Ken Burns, history of the Civil War, and read a couple books on it, and it always kind of leaves me a little empty. But Gone with the Wind, everything clicks, and then I double check the historical parts. It's magnificent. The movie's 3 hours. The book's 49 hours, so it's more like 15 times as long as the movie. It's magnificent. It's beyond good. I can't believe how good it is. Okay, anyways, next person quoted here is Walter Bagehot, and he says, the reason why so few good books are written is that most of the people who know how to write don't know anything. Yeah, there's something funny about that. Like somebody majors in, writing in college. It's sort of like you need to get some experience so you got something to talk about. That's also why you don't see any really good writers who are young, except maybe some of them on comedy are really funny when they're young. But in general, it takes a little more life experience to have something to say. Walter Bagehot continues, to illustrate a principle, you must exaggerate much and you must omit much. I think Voltaire said something very much like that, because you have to draw attention to the key point, and you can't have too much distracting material, so it kind of has to be that way. Walter Bagehot, what truly indicates excellent knowledge is the habit of constant and sudden, almost unconscious illusion, which implies familiarity for which that cannot arise from any other reason but that alone. Okay, yeah, Walter Bagehot. And that's a little bit like Aristotle's quote where he said, the master of metaphor is a sign of genius, because you can't make sophisticated metaphors on a topic unless you know it really well. Okay, next person quoted here is Russell Baker. He said, it is sport that is the opiate of the masses. And that's basically, in contrast to like Marx, who said religion is the opiate of the masses. Yeah. All right, anyways, Honoré de Balzac, the French writer. And I used to remember Balzac as Balzac. Okay, here's a quote from Balzac. He said, laws are spider webs through which the big flies pass, but the little ones get caught. Yeah, that's pretty true. We've all seen that. Okay, there are two histories. Formal history is based on lies. Yeah, I just told you, like you see my book review, The Real Lincoln. What you're taught in public schools is nonsense compared to what really happened. And then he says, so the formal history that students are taught, that's all based on lies. But the secret history is where you find the real causes of events. Yeah, you got to dig for it. It's not just handed to the pros. Most of what the pros know is not true. And that's why the pros, they're trained to be conformist chumps who trust and don't know anything. But to really learn, you got to make the effort on your own part. But it's valuable to do so you can think for yourself. Okay, Balzac. To promote laughter without joining in it greatly heightens the effect. When women love us, they forgive us everything, even our crimes. When they do not love us, they give us credit for nothing, not even our virtues. It's like, Jim Morrison's song, people are strange when you're a stranger. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Okay, Balzac continues, all great talents have great willpower. Yeah, if you're going to achieve anything, you got to have willpower. That's why I said I think willpower and personality are kind of more important than IQ. I know lots of high IQ doctors who never do anything. Nothing. They just want to make their money, go home, enjoy their life, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a respectable thing. But what I'm trying to say is, If you're going to achieve, publish big papers, make discoveries, you got to energize your focus on that. Okay, Balzac continues. The duration of passion is proportionate to the original resistance of the woman. Yeah, if you get a woman too easy, then the guy thinks she's easy and doesn't respect her. Okay, next, an educator named Albert Bandura. And Bandura was sort of along the lines of, child education. Vygotsky. Vygotsky had talked about the zone of proximal development, meaning that the parent sort of scaffolds or the teacher scaffolds the kid to their next thing. What they can do in the presence of the parent and the teacher is increased, and then once they can do it in their presence, then they can do it on their own. So you got to show the kid, role model the kid how to do stuff. But that works pretty well. The Vygotsky zone of proximal development. Okay, let's see. Bandura would talk about things like you have to give the kid confidence that they can potentially be successful at something, so they're willing to try. Because, I've seen a lot of kids chicken out on doing something because they don't have the confidence to do it. Bandura says people's belief about their ability has a profound effect on those abilities. In order to learn, you need to be paying attention and you need to be motivated. Yeah, because I've seen guys like in wrestling and other sports that were really intensely focused, and they improved much faster because they're paying tighter attention because they're invested in it. They see it as their big career thing. Okay, Charles Peirce, the philosopher, the pragmatist, he said, in order to learn, you must have the desire to learn. Yes. The motivation for education, this is Jim Blocky, another teacher who wrote a book about education. The motivation for education has to come from the student. If they cannot motivate themselves, then no teacher can inspire them. Yep. Bandura, when people are persuaded that they have what it takes to succeed, they will exert more effort. Yeah, because a person says to themselves, is this worth my effort? Why should I try unless I have a chance of success? Okay, so they have to believe they have a chance of success to go for it. That's a little bit like the growth mindset of Carol Dweck. That if a student believes that study skills can help them, they will make an effort to learn study skills. So they got to have that first step. And for me, it was real important. My father was a good role model for me. He was always reading every day, and he had been a good student athlete, and so I wanted to be like him. And he got up early and every morning, and he worked his tail off all day long. So to me, it was just, that's what a man does. You get up early in the morning, you work your butt off all day, and then you read whenever you get a chance. And that was one of the best things my father ever gave me, to teach me that that's a good way to be a man. Because I had lots of problems in my life, and all I did was read, and that helped me. I didn't learn so many other things. Okay, Bandura's concept of self-efficacy is a little bit like Maxwell Maltz's concept of a self-image. We achieve in proportion to what we think we're capable of achieving. And it's good to be around people who sort of expand your personal perspective on what you can do. So if you're around people that are interested in making money, you'll be better at making money. If you're around people that are interested in becoming better students, you'll be a better student. If you're around people that are serious about becoming a better doctor, you'll be a better doctor, whatever it is. Okay, and then Albert Bandura continues. Perpetrators of evil deeds absolve their harmful behavior as serving worthy causes. By treating others as subhuman, they expunge their restraints. Yeah, I've seen that. They always, when somebody wants to do bad things, they demonize the victim, and then they claim they're doing it for a good reason, and a lot of bad stuff gets done that way. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that basically the North, in the time of the Civil War, 1861 to 1865, basically what they really wanted to do was steal as much money as they could from the South. And they knew they had the numerical superiority, the industrial superiority, and the South had refused to pay the new doubled tariffs. So it wasn't only later that they went and said, oh, well, the Civil War. That was because of, to free the slaves and to preserve the Union. BS. It was about paying the tariffs, and that's well known. I talked about that in my book review. So anyways, that's the quotes in the B's for today. Hope that was useful.